Hey guys, it's Walker Dybel, author of Buy Then Build and creator of the Acquisition Lab. It's not uncommon for me to spend up to about 6 hours or so a week just in live advisory calls with buyers in the lab. And my team wants to start this new initiative where every once in a while we'll pull little clips of things that happen so that we can share it with other people in our larger Buy Then Build community. So check out this sick clip and we'll see you on the inside. When I buy companies, what I like to do is if I'm not the person, I like to go in with my person. Okay. So when I bought the manufacturing company, it wasn't a turnaround, it was just throughput expansion. Right. And I knew the guy in St. Louis that, or sorry, in Missouri, that probably single handedly, touched more aluminum than anyone else in the Midwest. Okay. He did a number of turnarounds of manufacturing companies. Okay. This was not a turnaround, but I said, hey, do you want to go look at this business? And he said, yep. So I'm thinking about buying this company. You want to go look at it? Yep. And we walked in, total operations guy, total manufacturing guy, right? Like just kind of a hard ass with people, but also really good at like making things move through facilities. Okay. So throughput, just to huddle on that term, what I mean is two things. One, increasing the top line, and two, allowing it to move through smoothly in a way that you can actually deliver on it. Okay. So if you get that combination together, that's throughput. Okay. So we went in, we toured the building, and I kind of know him well enough. As we were walking through, I was like, okay, he's going to say that, he's going to say that, he's going to say that. Maybe he'll probably say that, but like, is that going to be a thing for him? Like, is that going to be enough opportunity? And we walked out and we're driving back. I said, what'd you think? And he said, Walker, if that isn't the single best opportunity I've ever seen, it's the second best. And I was like, okay, tell me what you saw. And I had like maybe 6 things that I thought were areas of improvement. He had like 15, and they were massive. Okay. And so I bought the company. All right. And then I gave him phantom stock. So and then he just went to work, right? And basically like increased the throughput of the whole business. Now, he grew the business. All right. Let me use some round numbers. We bought it and it was doing 1.9 million in revenue. At the end of our first year, I think we were doing 2.4 and growing from there. Okay. Then he says to me, Walker, I've got an offer that I can't refuse. I'm leaving you. Okay. Keep in mind, I don't run this business. He does. It's like 2.5 hours from my house. Okay. So I said, okay. I immediately knew who I was going to call. Okay. Because I always had in my head, like, who would I call if this happens? And it was actually my chief manufacturing officer from the printing company. So I called him up and I said, hey, Steve, I have an opportunity. And we went down there and he agreed to take the job. And again, I'm paying him a salary plus phantom stock. Put a pin in the phantom stock. We'll come back to it. And we went down there, and one of the key individuals was running sales. Okay. He was a great salesman, probably our number one salesman by kind of a lot. And his wife had been hired by my guy to run the office. And I was like, that's a bad decision. You don't want to do that. That like one couple is now in charge of the field and all customer relationships as well as running the office. Like that's too much power. And so he came to me when I went down there and said, hey, Walker, listen, we want to be general manager. I said, who's we? And he said, me and my wife here. Just isn't a good idea. Okay. But they kind of had strong control over the culture. All right. So I said, no way. And it was a really weird sort of thing. So what I did was we hired Steve. Steve did the training with my old manager, okay, for a month. Old manager left. Now Steve's in place. Me and Steve sit in a room. We bring in the guy and say, hey, you're really valuable to us. Like, we're going to give you a raise. We want you to stay. I know you wanted this job. It's going to my guy. Okay, but we want you to stay. We want you to be part of the team. You're critical. Here's a raise. Okay. He quits on the spot. I say, listen, it's Thursday. All right. This is what I want you to do. Don't quit. Leave. Take the rest of the day off. Take Friday off. Take the weekend. You're welcome and invited to come back Monday morning. Okay. But I want you to think about this. All right. So go think about it for the 4 days. All right. I said, if you don't come in Monday morning, we'll accept that as your resignation. So he shows up Monday morning. But you also know in these situations that like the clock's ticking, right? Like he was either going to get on board with us or he was going to need to be ejected. All right. Well, what he did was we started having all hands meetings, and the company like was divided, like culturally, like half the people would stand over here and half the people would stand over here and kind of face each other. It was really bizarre. And so he was, sort of, I don't know. And what happened was about 2 weeks after this event, 40% of my entire company quit on the spot and left. The revenue gains that we had made dropped substantially, and we were lower than when I bought the company. Okay. We had a new manager, half-mast team. Okay. And what eventually became a direct competitor, a new direct competitor started by these people about 9 miles down the street. Okay. With all of our same processes, all of our same setups, all of our same everything. Okay. It was hard for a while. And by the way, these things are fucking hard. Okay. Even at the printing company, like going through the Great Recession during this time is terrible. It's terrible. But ultimately you're chipping away and you're building value every day. You're building a little bit of value every day. Okay. And the thing is that, when that printing company, I ran it as CEO for 7 years. Most of it was incredibly challenging. All right. But at the end, I sold it. I happened to sell it on the very day that I made the last debt payment on the acquisition. It just so happened to like line up like that. Okay. And what happened was I ended up getting enough money to go buy 5 other companies. That was awesome, right? Because it gave me what I needed in order to go like sort of live my dream and do my thing, right? A lot of these companies have bad days, bad years, right? I don't want to make this seem. In fact, I need to share with you guys the first manuscript to Buy Then Build. My editor called. If you guys happen to know Tucker Max, he doesn't spare words. And he said, Walker, I'm very confused when I read your book. Are you trying to sell me on this idea? I was like, no, I mean, you just need to know about it. Right. And he goes, yeah, we need to take out all this shit because no one's going to buy a business if you leave all this shit in there. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, you got to understand, like, there's a lot going on. Like, it's heavy, right? This is heavy. It's a big commitment. There's a lot of risk involved, and it's hard, right? This is not, make money quick. This is like be a CEO of a real company with like a personal guarantee. It's a lot going on here, right? And it's why I call it the most engaged life possible. It's like you're the star of your own movie, and like the upside is huge and the downside is real, okay, and huge, right? So it's just sort of like you get to live this, all right? And as told in this story, okay? So here's the point: is that Steve then just started implementing. He started rehiring his own team. All right, a couple more people left. He kept hiring more people, and ultimately, we just finished. Last year was last year was a very good year. We were back to I believe we went to 2.7, which was our best year ever. Okay. And then this year, we're almost going to be at 3.5 million. All right. So again, 1.9, 2.4, really low, right? 2.7, 3.5. The valleys are real. But this is all Charles' question, platform examples. The throughput on the manufacturing company was the thing that was going to basically create value. And I had the guy. All right. So if I go in with a business that I know how to make value, but I'm not that guy, I go in with my own guy to run it and I give him phantom stock.